Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video, and we did Diablo. It is now time to show off the new Primal Demon Violet, controlling Purple Demon Violet. Now, on paper, she looks batshit crazy because of her ability to allow you to use battle skills an unlimited number of times. However, in practice, it's not quite as exciting as you would say, because you are still at the mercy of how many skill points you got. And that is going to be a real downer, because, like, yes, potentially you could use Shizuka's alt or weakness strike buff 4 or 5 times. But do you have, 500 points just to spend just on that skill? Probably not. So after you kind of take that into perspective, she becomes a pretty generic stacking protector, because she's stacking 12% attack on primal demons. Cool. She's raising your skill cap passively up here by 50 every turn. Okay. She's giving it extra skill points on blues. So the only extra thing that she has going for her is you could use a skill maybe once or twice extra if you've got the points for it. Is that better than, say, Visions of Coleus Lumi, who's giving people all a synergy rate while doing everything else the same way? Is that even better than, Protector Konosuba Rimuru, who came out last year in July, who's, like, alt buffing, 40 skill cost, 100 SP right there. I mean, he's not quite as, new and shiny, but, I mean, he's still a stacking blue protector. Like, is that any better or worse than the new Violet? It's debatable. So, other than that, physical characters get a 20% attack and defense buff. Primal demons do extra damage against wind. So, let's go into the beatdown battle. Alright, we're going to go into EX2 using this team. Guy, Blanc, New Misery, Shizuka, because she's going to be one of the most relevant, most talked about units that you can put on this team for the multiple stacks, and then Diablo will be our DPS. So ideally here we've got Orb Changer, Alt Buffer, Alt Swapper, and the Weakness Strike, Alt Swapper, Pierce Resistance down, Orb Changer, Buffer, and then we have Shizuka with her stacking Weakness Strike buff, and stacking alt resistance down on a single enemy. So, ideally, we want to use her multiple times a fight, a turn even, and we'll see how realistic that is. Alright, so turn 1, we're going to use the Misery Orb Change, put the Pierce Resistance, start stacking that on them, and then we'll get Diablo in here for Guy, and we'll get Shizuka in here. They have turn 2 protection traits, however, Misery isn't raising our gauges for blues, which means we are not going to get a double stack of Violet, because we're missing an extra 10% protection gauge per blue orb, which is pretty unfortunate, because getting 2 stacks on the Protector is incredibly valuable to start out on turn 2. Alright, this hand, depending on what our point situation looks like, yeah, we can't do anything about that, because, like, we could do this orb change, we could do Guy's orb change, right, but it wouldn't get all of these orbs. Alright, we came back to a turn that we could do something about it. So, full hand of greens, we've got Diablo now, who can convert all those. This is how close we are. So we would need, like, another turn 2 protector unit to cover that little bit of extra gap. Well, I guess we could have thrown Misery in the back instead of Shizuka. No, because no, that wouldn't have really worked. Yeah, okay, well, whatever. So we'll go ahead and apply this now. I don't think we get binded until turn 3, so we're okay leaving Shizuka up front. Actually, no, Guy's got protection gauge, so we'll bring him in. There we go. So now, our icon is this little kind of green aura going on, and all of our skills have this green aura. So, because we've used Violet, if we had enough points, we could use more skills. Like, we could use the alt swap. And then if we had more points, we could use it again and again and again. But we are limited in points. So let's get to a spot where we're no longer limited by points. Now we have 124 SP, which is a lot better than 53. So let's see what happens, how our luck turns out. Okay, perfect. Awesome. That is incredible. So this will be a good example of what we could do, potentially, like, if you get very, very lucky. So let's get Guy's Orb Change here. Boom. And now we could use Violet. And if we still had, you know, like another orange orb floating around, we could then use Guy again, even though we literally just used him. Like, you watched me use it. But, you know, we don't. So let's bring Shizuka in instead. So now, let's do the Weakness Strike. So boom. 20% weakness strike for everybody, plus the heal. But we got 69 points left. And this costs 45. So let's do it again. Boom, now we got 24. If we had enough, we could have used the live mode and gotten, you know, alt resistance down on somebody. But we don't have enough points. So there we go. There's the showing of using the same skill twice in the same turn. And now we'll come out because we're going to get binded in. And I want to make sure our orb changes are up front. And, I mean, we got an extra 40% weakness strike. I mean, scot-free, essentially. But now that skill is going to cost 65... Okay. Thanks, game. Misery changes 3 orange orbs. I think we have a little bit more than that. I think we're just going to have to sack this turn off. And we'll get the alt for Diablo. I guess. Sure. And then the next turn, I think, gets converted to all greens anyways, so... It is what it is. Alright, yeah, okay. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, game. You're really setting the trend here. Alright, 3 separate alts, follow-up attacks, that's a lot of them. Alright, there's the whole hand of green, so now we can use Misery... Or we could use Blanc. We'll probably use Misery because it costs less, and then we'll use Diablo. So convert to blue. Convert all those to blue. We got 165 points, so you know what? Let's bring Shizuka back in, and we'll do another stack. And if we had another Protector, we could have used it again, but we don't, so we can't do that. So we'll just go ahead and send it as is once we bring Guy in for his Protection trait. Yes, alright. Oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. All I had to do was cough, but I pressed the pause button instead of the mute button. Okay. 300 points, 2 stacks of Violet, looking pretty good. So we can do very easy things here. So we can do the alt swap, we could do the orb change with Guy, call it a day, and then we can bring Shizuka in, and we can use 225 points worth of weakness strike. And we can look very, very, very good. But it's going to cost 85 plus 100 plus another 100 after that. So now it's like, how viable is it going to be? Because we've used it so often now that it's going to cost 100 points a hit. Which, you know, on a stacking team, you probably have points left over. And if you get lucky in orb changes, you can certainly do it. And Diablo is up to already 100% weakness strike, so we've used it 5 times, and it's only turn 6, so we're looking pretty good. It's just, now it's going to cost a lot of points, and if we have to do a lot of orb changing, and those costs start ranking up, and then we got to get ready for the nuke, and we have to have a certain amount of points saved up for that. So here's like a prime example right here. So we're going to alt swap with Blanc. Alright, so that's some points. So we'll do that. So alt swap, 45 points. Alright, not a big deal. Diablo, orb change, costs 70. Boom, alright. Misery, you come in. You cost 45 points now. And that leaves us with a grand total of 173. So we do... Right. If you fuck up and you do that, then you have to use another orb change. And, you know, there we go. Full hand of blues. We still have 100 points, so we can still technically use one more stack here and keep Diablo nice and healed. Now we're up to 120%. So, I mean, if things work out, and even if things don't work out and you fuck up like what I do a lot of the times, the precedent is still there. But do we have enough points to nuke 296? Because we used a 100 point skill right before the nuke. I think we do. But, you really got to pay attention at that point. It's turn 8. Their defense is now, pretty much gone. And we need 8, 16, 24, 240 points to do anything else. And that's going to pretty much cover it. So let's get Shizuka out, because we can't use her anymore. But we've already given Diablo an extra 120% weakness strike, which will stack on top of what Blanc is doing. Not that. What Blanc is doing here with 100%. So we're going to have 220% weakness strike. That's pretty good, right? That's fairly good. And we've got 2 more stacks of Violet. Diablo's going to do a lot of damage here. A lot more than what we need to do. Now, if we were to not bring Violet and not use multiple weakness strike buffs from Shizuka every turn, would we still get 120? No, we'd probably get 80. Four uses, maybe 5. And Diablo does 1.3 million, 1.5 against this over here. Okay, cool. Because I think we synergied and we lowered their resistance enough to where it wouldn't really do too much. So, yeah, that's cool and all. But what if we just don't do that and we just bring a bunch of big-time support units? Let's see what that looks like. Okay, I had to push an extra turn, so we're only going to use 1 stack of Violet to keep it, moderately fair. But this time, instead of bringing Shizuka, we brought 2nd Anniversary Hinata. We haven't used any of the buffs thus far, and she's giving a 50% all-element buff for 40 points, which is relatively cheap. So, let's see how much more damage that does. Let me pause real fast, let me figure out what damage we did in the last run, because it's been a hot minute. Hold on. Okay, we did 1.3 around there. So, we may do more, we may do less. Remember, this is with another 120% weakness strike added on to everything else versus a 50% element buff. So let's see how it stacks up. So we'll do the alt buff, we'll do the guy buff, or the Diablo buff. We'll bring Blanc in for her weakness strike, which is only 100% now. And then we will bring in Hinata. Now, because we have extra points, it's good to know right here that while we can use Hinata's buff again, right, it doesn't stack on top of each other. Just because you use 2 skills of the same type in the same turn, it doesn't mean they magically get added together unless they are specifically a stacking style of skill. 20% weakness strike for the end of the fight per usage. 15% attack per usage for the end of the fight. If we do this again, it doesn't magically become 100% element buff. It's just they cancel each other out. So look at all these grays. Why? Because we applied it again. So it's still 50%. So that's also something to keep in mind. So, do we do 1.38 million with this? Let's find out. We do more. It cost a butt ton of points, and we had 120% extra weakness strike, and we did another 500k damage by using just 1 skill, 1 time. So it's like, is it better to, have the ability to use a number of skills a bunch of times over and over and over again? Not based on that. I may have had a few more extra, pierce resistance down debuffs from the Misery Orb change, but, that's not gonna cover 500,000 damage, right? Unless I've been doing it for 30 more turns or something. So, is Violet really that good, or is she just a traditional stacking blue protector with, a cute little gimmick added onto it? I think it's more of that, but let's try her somewhere else. Okay, we're going to put her on a fire team with Violet and Benimaru. You know what they do? They apply the burn debuff. And you know what's fun about burn? It stacks. So, Violet, gonna lead a blue focus team. We've got Diablo again here. He's gonna be, giving the physical buff to this Violet, and then Megamine here for the alt buff, orb change, fire buff, the burn. I mean, this could go one of two ways. It could go horribly, horribly wrong, or it could be extremely hilarious. I'm really hoping for the hilarious part. Alright, so we have to bring Benimaru because the turn 1 orb change. He also applies the burn, which we need to stop Clayman from poisoning us and binding us. So he's doing double duty here. Can't bring Violet in because he puts a crit nerf on everybody. Not exactly what I want to do here. So just send the greens, give us a decent amount of skill points. Diablo is type disadvantage, so as soon as possible he's going to not exist on the front line anymore. And let's see what the second hand turns out to be. Looks like a Megamine orb change to me. It certainly does. Okay, perfect. So, let's get Violet in here for Shizu, and let's get you out of here. And then we can use the Megamine orb change, get a stack, and we can start applying burn. But I don't want to do that quite yet, because I want to do a lot of burn very, very quickly. So we're gonna build up a few more here. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Alright. So this is where things can get real fun, right? If we have a bunch of fire units and they're all applying burn, what do you think we can do with that? This is a hand right here, isn't it? I can't do anything about this third orange, though, huh? Well, no, actually I can. I lied. Let's apply some more burn. Perfect. And now we'll use Diablo. We'll use Diablo to convert that. Okay, and then we got an orange, so we can still use Megamine's orb change. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's working. It's a roundabout way, but it's certainly working. Let's get another stack. We'll get more points, and then hopefully next turn we don't need to do so much stupid orb changing, and we can really apply that burn damage. Okay. So we got 2 more stacks, which means that Violet is getting stronger and stronger every time because she is getting the stacks from Primal Demon. That's a hilarious orb change right there. Great. Love to see it. Okay. Okay. Alright. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to burn again. Awesome. We're going to bring Diablo in. We're going to orb change with him. Alright, and now 2 more stacks of Violet, and now we're going to apply a few more burns, right? Because it should be 15 and then 20, no, it'll be 15 and 35, huh? Don't have enough for that, do I? Burn? Oh, no, we do. Okay, so burn. Burn. Now we got 4 stacks of burn going on. Awesome. Violet has an attack buff. She's got an ult now. We've got 250 points. We could burn even more next turn. How much burn damage do we actually do here with 4 stacks? 35k. That's not a lot. It is what it is, though. But here's where things can get real fun, right? So, Violet buff. We'll start buffing up our own Violet a little bit, so we can give her the crit and pierce stuff, right? Awesome. And then let's bring Shizu in. Actually, let's do this physical buff. And then another burn. Alright. And then you know what? Let's do another burn. And then, just because we can, let's bring Fire Shizu in. And let's use her Pierce Power buff. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stacks of burn. 20, 40, 60, 80, 120% damage just of burn. And Violet, has a decent amount of buff on her, right? 80% attack, 20% attack right here, pierce per hour, guaranteed crit, guaranteed pierce, 100% physical attack, 15% more pierce power. I mean, this will look fun. 232. All right. 12k. And then the burn, 6 stacks of that. 420k. I mean, that was pretty funny. 420k burn. I'm gonna do a separate video on this where I just do a stupid amount of burns, like a 999 thing of burns. I don't know what staging I'm gonna do it on. Probably a predator battle, but I'm gonna certainly do it, and I'm gonna giggle like a girl. But that was pretty efficient right there. Oh, you don't have extra buff damage? Like, you don't have a lot of fire supports? Because we didn't use Fire Shizu, right? If you didn't have Fire Shizu, we didn't use Megumin's alt buff. We just used the Diablo buff, Violet's own buffs, and a shit ton of burn. And it did 420k by itself. Because it's 120% of all the fire attack that we did. I mean, yeah. That's how the Tempest Elite team should have gone. That's how that should have worked. But no, here we are. So, you know, different time, different age, different play style, right? Let's see if I can think of something else fun. Nah, I think that's enough for today. We got a good showing of what Violet can do, you know, with her own Primal Demon team, and then with some fun burn. I have a few videos planned for her using her, you know, unlimited skill usage ability that I will, you know, put out in the future. You know, the big time burn video being one of them. I think people can relatively easily guess what the second one will be. But, you know, we'll leave it at that for now. So, Violet, I mean, it's a fun gimmick, and you can very much take advantage of it with certain skills. But I think at the end of the day, you're just going to treat her like any other stacking blue protector. And while, you know, that's not a bad thing per se, because we know that we can do oodles of boodles of damage with blue stacking teams, I don't think it's enough to really set her apart from the pack, other than the fact that she's leading the Primal Demon team, which has, you know, Blanc and John and Guy and Diablo and, you know, everybody's favorite characters on it. So, she's good. She's not super duper uber great, but she's not garbage either. So she's like an 8. We'll give her an 8. If her mechanic was maybe a little more fun, maybe she did one more thing, maybe she'd be a 9. But I think a solid 8 for now is where we'll put her. Of course, that could very much change when we get the rest of the meta, whenever that comes out. But let me know your thoughts about this Violet. Is she better than I'm giving her credit, or is she just not as impressive as you wanted her to be? Let me know, but that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.